Hey everybody, today Rahdo runs down a prototype of Incoming Transmission, which is a deduction game where two or more players are trying to save a doomed space station before time runs out. And the way it works is, as part of setup, one player is going to be mission control. Think of the guys down in that big room in Houston trying to help the astronauts out in space. That player gets access to a deck of command cards, like move around, pick things up, repair things, etc., etc. Now, also as part of setup, we randomly generate the space station where most of the stations, or most of these cards, are damaged. Red side up, and they need to be repaired. There's a few that are green, which is not very friendly for colorblind players. Hopefully they'll fix that, since this is a prototype. But anyway, the whole point of the game is this little brave astronaut has to figure out which of these items to repair and move so they are adjacent to other items to complete objectives. As part of setup, there's going to be 3 of them. Mission Control knows what these are. The Cadet does not. We need to build some alien life support, rig up an auxiliary antenna, and fix a bent launch rail. And that means moving the oxygen converter over to the water purifier, moving the hazard suit over to the transport craft, etc., etc. So, how does it work? Well, each round, and the game takes place over 7 rounds, which is tracked by this transmission deck, that can make the game easier or harder depending on how garbled our transmissions are going to be. The mission control player figures out what 5 actions should be taken by the cadet. And looking around, well, I know the hazard suit has to get over here to the transport craft and it has to be repaired, so I might say the 5 actions are, first, repair. Then collect, pick it up. Then, let's say move east. Do I have an east? Move east. There's 2 of each direction. Then drop it off, deploy it, and boom, we'll have a repaired hazard suit next to the transport craft. We will have completed one of the objectives, but I have to give him a 5th command. And now what I'd like to do is his 5th command would be pick up the hazard suit again, because after it's repaired, it can be taken here, and then it could be taken to the comms module, which is what is required for the auxiliary antenna. But I only have 1 pickup command. So I'd have to tell him to walk away from the thing I need him to do. Now that could create confusion, because later on I'd have him move back to it. Although I could have him walk away up here, repair this, and then bring it back. I think that makes sense. So we'll have him then move east again. All right, so I have chosen the 5 commands. And if he would just follow these commands, the cadet, in the order I've prescribed, it would be easy peasy lemon squeezy. We'd win, no problems. Here's the problem. The transmission is garbled. I have to randomize these cards and hand them over. But that's not all. There might be more problems. Depends on what our first transmission card says. Let's look. Ooh, it's only a level 1. This is the easiest thing it could be because I have to shuffle them up, but I can tell the cadet what their 4th action should be. So it was repair, pick up, move, deploy. So I will tell them I've shuffled them up. Your 4th action, it says right here, is deploy. And so now the rest of these are garbled up, and now it's up to the cadet to figure out, what should I do? So the cadet looks and says, okay, there's 2 east, no other direction. So I know we're going to be moving east. I know we're going to repair, pick up, and deploy. So the mission command has done a good job here because it should be very easy. There aren't different directions they're going. If I had told him instead of moving east again to move north, that's where I want him to go, he might get confused. Should I move and then repair something? Or should I move up here and then pick this up, etc., etc.? But this one's pretty easy, particularly because I was able to tell him deploying is the 4th thing. So they quickly figure out in this first turn, first we need to repair, then we need to collect, then we need to move east, then deploy, and then, we must have us move east again. So this is their guess. And they start doing it. Now, while the cadet player or players are working out this puzzle, because multiple players could be controlling the cadet, all working together to figure it out, the mission command player has to stay stone-faced silent. They can't give any hints or clues. Now, in this case, I gave some good commands, so they were able to figure it out pretty intuitively. Okay, so they will repair. That just means they flip this over. Now, they collect, which means they have this blank tile. They swap it in, so they've collected the hazard suit. Then they move east, then they deploy it, And then they move east again. That's what they chose, and they cross their fingers that they did what I wanted, and I say, hooray! Yes, you have done it. You have built a, let's see, what was it? You fixed the bent launch rail by getting the hazard suit over there. Mission 1 completed. We only have 2 more missions, and we've got 6 more rounds to do it. And as a reward, they get a signal boost because our communications are only going to get worse. But let's say they got the abort card. Now they hold on to this. On a future turn, after they figured out what they want to do, they figured out their 5 cards, they could play this and say, mission command, should we abort? And all mission command player can say is yes or no. And so that's a really great way to give a little bit of extra information. That could be a real saver. But anyway, so now they're over here. I want them to come up here to the comms module, repair it, pick it up, and then start bringing it back down south. So I've got all my command cards again, and you might imagine it's going to be, north, north, go north, do a repair, pick up, collect, and then do I tell them to come back south or do I tell them to go west? That's a hugely important question for me because if I look around and see what else they might try to do, if I tell them to go west, they might think, hey, go north, go west, repair this thing, and go north. So I don't want to tell them to go west because they might think they need to do something with the fusion core. So I'll tell them to head back south instead because hopefully that'll make it clear to them what to do. These are the 5 commands. I got to shuffle them up, unfortunately, and let's see how much more garbled the transmission will get. It's a level 2. That means I cannot give them any hints. They've got to figure everything out themselves. But you know what? It could have been, here's another level 2, but if it were later in the game, it might have been a level 4. Not only can I not tell them anything, but I've got my perfect 5 commands they should do. I then have to grab an extra random command and slip it in, and now they've got to figure out the right order, and they've also got to figure out which of these cards is bogus and which one to throw away. Suddenly, there's that west, and they won't necessarily be able to figure out because there's several different options for what could going on, because remember, they have no idea what the mission objectives are. So, as the game goes on, and our communications get worse and worse, it just gets so much more important for Mission Command to give commands that make sense based on where the cadets are. And the cadets have to be very, very smart about when to use their signal boosts, when they're positive or when they're not positive, to try to figure it out, because we've only got 7 rounds to complete these things. And that, folks, is the rundown on Incoming Transmission. This game is so clever. Now, really, ideally, it's a 2-player game. 1 mission commander and 1 cadet, but I could certainly see it working. Maybe 2 cadets trying to puzzle out together, and particularly because that means they'd be talking, and the mission commander could hear what they're thinking and take that into account if the mission commander realizes that they've got the wrong idea about what they're trying to move. So he can use that information in future go-rounds and whatnot. But Jen and I, we have enjoyed this very much as a 2-player game. We both played both sides. They both have interesting decisions to make. At first, the mission commander seems very simple. Just do the most efficient thing possible. But if you always do that, you will leave the cadets confused about, well, we could do this or this. So the mission commander has to think about all that before he issues. And then the cadet has to think about, well, the mission commander could have told us this, but he never told us to repair anything. What does he mean by that? Okay, he must not want us to get over there to that broken thing. He must want us to do something else. Lots of fun little deduction in a fast, super portable. This game is just a deck of cards and 1 little meeple. I am really impressed. Jen and I have very much enjoyed our time with Incoming Transmission. And that's the rundown, folks. Thanks very much for watching. Have a very nice day. Talk to you later. So long. Bye-bye.